Greetings there, wrestling fans. This is John Bullard with another action-packed, fun-filled adventure episode of Pro Wrestling Tonight. With us in the studio, we're going to have Mr. M80 all day, Marshe Rockett. Before our guests will be with us, we're going to take a look at this amazing highlight video of Mr. M80 Marshe Rockett doing what he does best in the ring. And with us right now in studio, the man who has traveled the world entertaining all of you fans of professional wrestling, my good friend, Marshe, All Day Rockett. Marshe, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me, John.
We got a big event coming up October 3rd, Michigan
Yes.
City, Indiana. It's you versus Garrison Creed. For the fans at home who's been watching you for years, they want to know more about you. When you first started your career, you was actually almost, 18, 19 years old, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And you started with Windy City.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that experience and that adventure that brought you into the wrestling business.
Well, I know a lot of people, guys who start off in the business, they always say, I've always been a fan. I've always been a fan. I honestly didn't fall in love with wrestling until I was about 10 years old. So, I'm a late bloomer, as I call myself. But even so, I did like the backyard wrestling because, of course, that's the rite of passage. Every kid does it.
If they said they didn't, they're lying.
I know. I was like, you were in my backyard. But, no, so, doing the backyard wrestling, just basically being a typical fan.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me to even want to try to get into the business. My dad actually was the one. Because he would always ask me, what did I want to do moving forward past, high school, thinking of the future. And I always told him I wanted to do something in entertainment. This was either acting, directing, stuff of that nature. And he was like, why don't you pursue wrestling? Because you're all about this wrestling more than I can see you, on stage trying to be the next, Rock. And I was just like, oh, no, so I went back and forth. thinking about it, but the thought just like never like left my head. It just kept like going around and around.
Which I have to say, your father is like one of the most rare parents, because I know like every parent, you're like, what do you want to do, son? I'm going to go jump off large things and break bones.
He was the only one.
Never.
Like my mom was a typical mother. She was just like, I can't see my baby get hurt. That's my baby boy. Yeah. I'm sorry. I want your dreams to come true. I really do, but I cannot condone this in any way. So I understood that. But my dad honestly was the stepping stone. Like, he was the one saying, you don't want what ifs.
Yeah, of course.
If you do it and it doesn't work out, then at least you know.
Yeah.
But if you get to a certain point, you're just like, man, why didn't I do this? You are going to hate yourself.
Of course.
So we set up there, and I started doing my research. And that is when I looked up, I originally wanted to go because it was the developmental center for WWE at the time. I wanted to try to go to OVW, but that was too far out of my reach. And my dad was like, really back in. You're not living on your own yet. You still got college. You still got all this stuff that you got to take care of.
And that's good that he made you go for education.
Yes, he was just like, really back in. Find something closer. There's got to be something closer. To which I came to the point of finding Windy City.
Yeah.
And we wound up going on a Tuesday night where they had Tuesday practices, and we met Sam DeCero, and he showed us the studio and everything behind the scenes. He introduced us to a few of the talent that he had. That was actually the first night I actually met my tag team partner, Acid Jazz, because he was just coming back from injury, and he honestly eased. If there was a inkling in the back of my dad's head about how I could manage college and education and a job and still do this, like, I do have to say Acid Jazz helped that out, because he was like, oh yeah, I'm a teacher, I'm doing this, and
of course it turns on that green light, and Dad's
like, and he was like, so he was like, well, how did you find time? He was just like, you just, as long as you prioritize and stuff, like, you can do it. So that's, I always thank Jazz for that, because it could have gone either way, but I think that pushed my dad over the hills. Like, okay, so what do you want to do? I said, I really want to do it. I really think this is a place for me. These are good people here. I know that they're going to help develop me to the point where I can go out and actually make something of this wrestling.
Of course.
So.
And so far, you've done quite a great job.
I do have to say, it's been one heck of a ride. I've been enjoying it for years. Hopefully, more years to come.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, Windy City, man, that was great locker room, great performances.
During the time that you was in Windy City, who was some of the guys that were part of that roster? Because people who do the research on Windy City had so many different rosters over the years, with certain guys coming into the business, learning, and moving into another area, or moving on. Like Christopher Daniels, for example, came from Windy City. Vic Capri, of course, and a lot of other guys that came through that.
Robbie Dauber. Yeah, they. I came. It was funny. I think I came a year after Christopher Daniels. Robbie Dauber was the latest.
Yeah.
The latest to go off, and I think he got a contract, so he was the latest to get out. But when I came in, I had the Hunter Paynes, I had the Steve Boz, the Acid Jazz, Willie the Bomb Richardson. A lot lot of Sam's first class was still there.
That really made it into the Chicago area.
Yeah, and so they were still doing they were the ones doing like the training. So they basically gave me like the groundwork, like, if this is what we got. If you're mentally and physically strong, you're gonna do good. You're gonna do well. Yeah. So I think I will say the first day. The first day of training, I was truly humbled, because I came from a track and cross country and occasional basketball background.
Yeah.
So I thought like, yeah, I'm athletic.
Guy,
I'm an athletic guy. You know, this is gonna be easy. But man, I tell you, those drills. Oh, I was so sore day one. And the funny thing is, Hunter Payne pulled me to the side, and I'll never forget these words. He was like, now, what I want you to do is, because you're huffing and puffing over here, kid. Yeah. What I want you to do is I want you to go home, and I want you to really think about what you want, because now you just got a small taste.
Spoonful.
Yeah, you just got a little teaspoon there of what you're getting into. Yeah. So now you got Thursday practice, and of course you got Saturday practice, and then next week you're gonna get the full practice. So I'm like contemplating, like, oh my God, like, what did I get myself into? But
I knew when I broke into business in 2001, our teacher was an old school guy. Mm-hmm. And the drills he would do would be like, all right, I want you to do 100 push-ups, then 100 squats.
Yes.
Then you got to do 100 back bumps, and then I want you to go run around the entire building.
Yeah.
You guys have the same thing too, I figured. Yeah. That's why I was huffing and puffing. I'm like, man, they made you do the same old school drills. That will weed out the ones that don't need to be there.
Oh my God.
The ones that want to make it.
Well, because so for my whole track career, like, I didn't have pop for years because I was running. Of course. They tell you no pop, no citricy drinks or something. Yeah. So when I was finally graduated and I was done with track, I was like, I almost became like a
you're like Coca-Cola.
I benched like it was like nobody's business, which I probably shouldn't, because now that I was going into another cardiovascular activity, I'm just you know, and I was just like, I could do 3 miles, no problem. Why am I?
I remember when I had C-Red on the first show, me and C-Red was talking about this, and he was like, yeah, I was a smoker and all this stuff. And all of a sudden they said to me, hey, Red, start running around the block. And he's like, he mentioned how like you went out of your way to like, hey man, it'll be okay, you'll survive. Yeah. And he was on his, he's like, yeah, I'll just put on a respirator mask and trying to breathe.
He was, because we started off running around the block, and then I think like because we started to lose trainees, because they were just like, I'm not running around Chicago, trying to be a wrestler. Yeah. So then I think they just said like, we'll just run down the block and then run back, and then we'll start our drills. But having all those conditions that Red had, I would be like the first guy, like practically almost back to the building. And then, I was always taught that like you win as a team, you make it as a team, of course. And nobody ever makes it on their own. Mm. So before I never wanted to enter the building just by myself. I wanted us all to show up as a team.
That's amazing.
So when I was like looking back, I'm just like, okay, there was 5 of us that left this place, and I'm seeing, and then I see Red. And to his credit, he did not stop, but he was just. He's trucking along. He's trying his best. And so I like ran back and I said, "No, man, come on." And because he was at the point where I could tell he wanted to like lean on the side of the building. He's like, "I can't make this." And I was like, "Yeah, you can, man. You can. We can make it together. Let's go. We got to push through." And it's so incredible what a little motivation, a little positivity can do to one
person's life.
Because then he was just like he was like me, because I had been there, and I swear, like in the next few weeks, he was like running. He was running circles around like the new young kids coming in. He's like, "Come on, boys,
let's do this." Yeah.
So it was just that like hey, no, come on, we're not leaving a man behind type thinking. And like from the weeks on in, he got better. And then
I do have to ask this question though. So you come into the school, mm-hmm. You have Acid Jazz, who's at that time was already an amazing talent, mm-hmm. And then you have Red that's like slowly coming in. And I think at that time Willie was already there too.
Yes.
So like you had like the whole formation of the Soul Touches.
Yes.
And you didn't you guys knew like from that day like what was going to happen, or was it like how read some of the story? But I like to hear like always like your other guys was like, okay, this is how we got together. This is how this happened. So because you guys became like one of the most legendary groups in Chicago. That wasn't just for Chicago, but like I remember when I first heard about you guys. Chicago did the King of Trios. Mm-hmm. And everybody's like, "Oh man, you ever seen those guys?" I'm like, "I've heard," because I was living in Kentucky at the time, working, and everybody's like, "Oh man, they're the most entertaining group of dudes you'll ever watch." I was like, "Okay, I will buy the DVD and watch it just to see this match." And you guys came out and did the whole dance, and then the dancing was awesome, but then the wrestling was just above like what most guys were doing. And I was just like, "Wow, Chicago has this like."
Yeah.
Way to go, Windy City. It's like that was good stuff. And
that was so fun.
Yeah.
It's funny that you bring that up because we were like all in the building at the same time. But with me being like they say like everything happens like for a reason. But I think like the closer we got, because I was just still like a rookie, just trying to find his way. In the locker room full of like men. I was a boy trying to, call myself, I'm a man too. Like, I'm only 18. And these guys have like had experiences. I haven't even left my parents' house yet. So, but when C-Red and Willie, they started to do other promotions outside of Windy City. Was Elite Pro. And Willie, at the time, he had been doing tag team wrestling. He had done Team Damn It with Trauma for many years, and so they wanted to do something a new, fresh look. And Willie was just like, "Well, I think I need something. Let's mix old school with some new school. Who can we got? Who do we have who can mesh well with this?" To which Red was like, why don't we do Marshe? Why don't we combine like the experience and the power with, at that time, like, speed and like agility and stuff like that. So when we came into Elite Pro, it was just supposed to be C-Red, Willie, and myself. And we were just going to be like, the bad guys, the heel tag team. Then Jazz had came over. But Jazz was only supposed to be a singles competitor.
Okay.
And so we wound up getting into like we were going to go into like a feud with Jazz. So we were supposed to be ultimately against Jazz. But I think it was at one point where it's the curse of the soul touchers, I always say, because no matter what we do to be hated,
everybody cheered for you.
Everybody loved us.
Yeah.
Because we started off as heels.
Yeah.
But by the end of like when we were first introduced to Elite Pro, the fans had already chosen like, no, we love those guys.
Yeah, and the music hits, and all of a sudden, and you're just like, well, there goes that.
So the whole format had like changed, and I was just like, no, aren't we supposed to be battling the Jazz? Like, no, we can't keep you guys heels.
Yeah. It's hard to be hated when people like want to love you.
Yeah. They're just like, all right, well, we'll you guys will be the good guys. I was like, okay, that works for me. So then I think Jazz was doing like his feud, and we came out, we made we helped him out, we saved him. And so it was supposed to go into like another intricate match that we had, but C-Red couldn't make it.
Yeah.
C-Red, I think he was on vacation at the time. And so we were just like, what are we going to do now? We don't have a manager. And they wanted us to cut like a promo on it and everything. And it was one of the most, it was the most notorious promo. It actually set the stage for the Soul Touchers, in my opinion, because after that promo where Jazz has like a mini black suit, because we're just like, we don't have C-Red tonight, like, and you're not even a part of this group, like, he's like, wait, I got it, he comes out there and he pulls up the black suit with the little hat. So, everybody in the back, the locker room is like dying, hysterically laughing. It was like that was hilarious. That was great.
Yeah.
And so I think from there, everybody we started to see the chemistry that we have with one another.
Yeah.
You know, and from there it just snowballed into like one.
You guys went everywhere after that, though. Because like I remember you guys worked in IWA Mid-South, Chikara. Dragon Gate USA, if I'm correct.
Yeah, we had a quick little stint.
So you had like, all of a sudden you went from like, oh, the Chicago guy doing good to, oh, he's kind of known now like all over the United States. What's impressive is, and after all these years, a little fast forwarding, you end up getting a deal with TNA Impact.
Yes.
Which, I mean, for a lot of guys, like that's like one of the biggest companies to work for. What was that like?
That was an experience, and it was just thrilling. It was great to have that opportunity. It was like the culmination of validation all in one. Because I remember what the overall story was with that was I had just actually came off of a tryout with WWE, and you know, here I had gotten into the best shape possible. I had did everything A, B, and C that they asked me to do, and after that, I of course got the letter saying like, you know, I don't want to say better luck next time, but it was pretty much like not now type deal. And it was just so that was kind of like devastating because I was like, I don't know what else I could have done, and you know, but it was just I kind of like went into like a slump because I'm just, you know, picking my brain like, where do I go from here, you know, because it was like my third tryout with them, and I think it was my most impressive, but it still just wasn't enough. And so it happened like at the time, you know, I got the call from like to do a tryout with Impact, and I was just like, okay, you know, flew down, and at this time I'm just like, oh, well, it will probably be the same thing with, you know, I'll go and they'll tell me like weeks later and stuff like that, you know, whether or not I got the job or not. But after my tryout with them, you know, they immediately saw something that, you know, a lot of the fans have seen for years. And so right after my tryout, I think I like went and toweled off and, you know, got dressed, and I was just ready to thank them for the opportunity. I think I was ready to go back to my hotel room, and they were just like, oh, like before you go, like, let's talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they brought me into like their office area room, and then there's the contract sitting right there. I was like, oh my God. And, you know, I didn't want to be that kid jumping. I'm like, you know, it's just, what is that? Because, you know, for all I know, it could be like the paperwork to like a show or something like that. Like, that paperwork's not for you. Like, you know.
We need your physical. Like, oh, great.
Like, yeah, you didn't sign like the waiver fee coming in there. So, you know, but but working at Impact was just, it was awesome and worth like a world of knowledge that I was thrown off.
Which the great thing is now you're taking that knowledge, you're coming to work for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, you know, which is going to be on TV for Amazon Prime and doing Comcast, of course. It's going to be seen by a lot of people. So as good as that, it's the redemption, like, Impact, but now you get the chance to work for a company that's close to home.
Yes.
It's seen by millions of people, but on top of it, all the competition and all the guys, that's going to be great. Like October 3rd, Michigan City, Indiana. Ladies and gentlemen, go to Chicagoland ChampionshipWrestling.com. Get your tickets. This is going to be a blast because this man right here, most exhilarating, most exciting athlete you'll ever watch, will be taking on the hard-hitting Garrison Creed.
Garrison Creed.
That's a match that when that was announced, like time itself stopped because everybody's like, "Whoa, okay, what? Is this like a three-way match? Is this a one-on-one?" Like, "Oh no, it's one-on-one," and everybody's like, "Oh, that's going to probably be the match. It's always your show to watch." So that's what everyone's excited about because they know that's going to be just a straight-out slobber knocker. You know, quote Jim Ross, but you know, it's the match everybody's looking forward to.
Got some big boys in there, so it's, you know, Garrison Creed. I've seen a lot of his in-ring work, and he is at the top of his game. and he's not gonna. It's certainly not gonna be a walk in the park, but I'm gonna find a way to get the job done. So, but I predict too, it's gonna be match of the night.
Oh, absolutely. It's there's so many good matches on that card, but
yeah,
that's one of the matches that everybody, and I'm thinking most of the guys will be like peeking out there, like, we got to come up with this, like what? So,
I got to follow that, like no, yeah.
So, outside of Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, what is the future looking for in Marshe Rockett's career? What do you have your eyes on coming up in 2021? Now that we're getting close for 2020 to be over with, and no more COVID, hopefully.
Yes.
No more. So.
No more masks. At least unless you're wrestling.
Exactly.
Then you can wear a mask. The future for Marshe Rockett would probably be to continue to travel, learn, and continue to find some of the best talent out there and test myself. You only get better by wrestling the very best, and that's who I search. That's who I look forward to.
Of course,
wherever they are, I'm gonna try to follow. Where that be like a main stage, major promotion, or if it's down and if it's over another country, another continent. Doesn't matter to me.
Because you have traveled the world some.
Yeah, so I am sniffing out all the best competition. And I want to see if they can truly go all day with Marshe.
It's gonna be good.
So, I'm not trying to be biased. I think I am pretty good enough to say hey, let's see what you got, and look forward to.
Well, when it comes to top tier talent, you're the one that every guest I've had on the show outside of Michael Allen, who is our interview man at the podium, but every talent I've talked to, they're like, oh, he would like to wrestle. And you're like the number one guy next to Vic Capri. Everyone's like, I like to wrestle Marshe. And I'm like, I bet he gets all this list every time he's in the locker room. But he's like, that's the guy. And you're like,
that's
okay.
Because I've even told some of the talent, I've said hey, if you want to be the best, you got to find the best and you come after it. And if win, lose, or draw, I'm going to leave a different competitor, and I damn sure know you're going to leave a different competitor because you're going to end up with chops all over your chest. But
ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode. October 3rd, Michigan City, Indiana. Go to Chicagoland ChampionshipWrestling.com. See this man in person on October 3rd. We'll see every single one of you at ringside.